You're a fraud.
You're a liberal hack.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wildcard bonus episode of The Hack and the Fraud. My name's Ryan, and I'm joined by Timothy. Tim, welcome to the podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here. I feel like I've been given a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I'm the frat kid that gets sucked into the chocolate river.
Welcome to my river. All right, introduce yourself, Tim. Who are you? Who's Tim?
I am Tim. I am one of Ryan's friends.
Nick's away this week. We lost Nick.
I'm Nick 2.0.
So we thought rather than not have an episode, we'll do a bonus episode. You might have guessed we're not doing Master and Commander this week. Tim, what movie did we do?
We did, The Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man.
Starring Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, so we did the 2006 Wicker Man. It's written and directed by Neil LaBute. I don't know if he actually wants us to mention that.
He's changed his name. He's got a new identity.
It's a remake of the 1973 British film The Wicker Man, but also draws from its source material, which is a book called Ritual. The film concerns police officer Edward Malis, who's Nicolas Cage, and his fiancée informs him that her daughter has disappeared and he wants him to come help look for her. But when he arrives on the island where Rowan was last seen, he suspects something sinister about the neo-pagans who reside on the island. Look, if I go to a creepy island, I generally do feel a bit suspicious of I suspect something sinister from the neo-pagans. It stars Nicolas Cage, but it's also got, I think it's Ellen Burstyn or Burstyn.
I only know Nicolas Cage. I know no one. There's no one else in this movie.
She's got 2 Academy Awards. She was in
Really?
The Exorcist. She was in the original Exorcist. It's also got Frances Conroy, who was the Joker's mother in the Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Oh, okay.
And she's like a bit of a horror movie star. But yeah, apart from that, that was pretty much it. So
a bunch of NPCs. So many extras.
Welcome to The Wicker Man.
Edward, I know that we haven't spoken in a few years. I need your help. I have a daughter. Her name is Rowan. She has been missing for 2 weeks now. I fear she is in danger, so now I turn to you. Be careful and believe nothing that you see or hear.
Lost your bearings?
Oh, hey. Sorry, snuck up on me there.
This is private property.
Do you know her?
I don't recognize this child.
All right, Tim. What did you think of The Wicker Man?
Oh, so many thoughts. Not enough time. It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It's
isn't
a good
it?
movie, but not for the right reasons.
But what if it is? Okay, so first of all, I think my recommendation is, if you can get it out of the way, is watch this movie.
Watch this movie.
Watch this movie. I had a great time with it. It's one of the more absurd movies I've ever seen. I wonder if it's meant to be absurd.
I would love to know when the director was putting this together, what did he want from this film?
Yeah, that's the thing. Was he going for horror, or was he going for a little bit of comedy?
Well, yeah, was he like, this is gonna be the most scariest spooky movie? I'm really gonna say something in this movie, or was he just like, who cares?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's just do whatever and just see how it goes.
What was your favorite part of the movie?
Anything to do with Nicolas Cage not doing his job.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's a police officer
allegedly
in this movie. Never fires his gun for like the beginning of the movie. Never even saw the gun.
We didn't even know he had a gun.
Didn't know he had a gun. Goes to the island to do police work, quotation marks, which is, I don't see him do any police work. Oh, he shows his badge.
Yeah, I remember that he bangs it on
the table.
Listen up, everybody.
And the whole pub's like, who the fuck is this guy? This guy's waving his badge around. And the bike in the movie.
First up,
spoilers.
What did you think? Because you had no idea what movie we were going to watch.
I didn't know what I was watching until I saw Nicolas Cage come up.
What did you think when you saw Nicolas Cage?
I was so happy.
So you didn't know anything about The Wicker Man beforehand?
I knew that there were... No, I didn't know The Wicker Man the title. But then I saw Nicolas Cage, and as soon as I saw the bees,
Yeah, you put two
I
and two
put
together.
two together because I knew there's a bee movie with Nicolas Cage.
Not the B movie, not the Jerry Silverman.
Not the Joe Silverman, but very, very different.
Yeah. Although equally hilarious.
No, equally hilarious.
This might actually be more funny.
I knew that they existed. I just didn't know that they were together.
Yeah.
But I loved it. It was great. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I think for me, I wonder whether Nicolas Cage must have known that it was absurd, because it is absurd. And he is having fun with it. I actually enjoyed Nicolas Cage's performance in this movie for the most part. Like, he has to deal with awful dialogue and working with, like you said, just NPCs, these other actors in the movie.
Yeah.
Fucking useless.
Yeah.
But he really goes nuts, especially in the last third of the movie where
He's just yelling.
He's just yelling at people a lot. Like, there's so many wasted scenes. It's just like, the movie just keeps going on and on, like these boring fucking scenes that go nowhere that last like 10 minutes.
That scene in the barnyard.
Yeah, the barn where he's like, he sees like a little girl running, so he chases her into the forest, and then in the forest there's like a barn. And none of the geography of this fucking island makes sense.
The barn is like 5 stories high.
Yeah, that's right. And then he goes up like, and he goes into the barn, and then he like hears her, and then he's like, oh, she's upstairs. So he goes upstairs.
With his little flashlight that offers no light.
And then he gets upstairs, and then he hears her upstairs. He's like, oh, better go upstairs. Goes up the next set of stairs. And then she's like, and then he hears her like in another room upstairs. He's like, oh, better go into the room.
And then it turns out she's not there.
She's not there at all. There's so many scenes like that where he's like chasing a little girl, and you hear like giggles, like echoey giggles in the forest or whatever. And he's just chasing them. And then the scene just ends. He's like, oh, I didn't find it this time.
But next time,
I'll chase the weird giggles again. And he doesn't at all question it. It's not like he thinks, oh, like she got away or something. I don't know. He's just like, I must have imagined it or whatever. It's like the giggles.
And then pops some more pills and like, oh, I'm having a dream again. Yeah, no. And also during those scenes, his slow run.
Oh yeah,
where it's just like an amble.
Yeah, that's right. Like there's so many scenes of him kind of like, it's the jog you do when you're like crossing the road and a car comes up.
Yeah,
and you do like the wave, and you do
sorry mate,
and you do a little jog across the road. That's what he's doing for the whole movie. And so there's scenes of him like when he has to get from one place to another, because the island's big and the director never figures out how to get him like places across the island. So there's just like really long scenes of him like kind of jogging along, and then it cuts to him like a bit further jogging along.
Nicolas Cage does not sprint.
No, he ambles.
Yeah, he ambles. Yeah, he's an
and then at one point they decide, like halfway through the movie, like he has a bicycle all of a sudden. There's no scene where he gets given the bicycle or explain where the bicycle comes from. You just the first time you see it, he's walking. It's like, where'd he get this fucking bicycle from? And he comes up to these people who are loading logs into a trailer, and instead of like leaning the bicycle somewhere, he's walking, smashes it on the ground, throws it.
And then when he picks it back up, he's like, "Oh, who threw my bicycle here?" And then walks away with the bicycle.
Walks away with it again. But that scene's also great, where he's like helping the guy, like. There's logs on the ground, and he gets one log and he puts it on the trailer, and then it knocks all the other logs off and almost kills the guy. And he saves him. But then like instead of helping him put like the 20 logs he just knocked off, he just picks up his bicycle and walks away.
Job done.
And then there's so many scenes after that. Like the first half of the movie, he's jogging along. They must have realized halfway through production, this jogging thing isn't working.
No, Nicolas Cage's like, I'm not doing this
I'm not
anymore.
doing any more jogging. And so I want to actually, because at the start of the, because he's a cop, right? Like he's a mix of a detective and a highway patrol officer. Because at the start of the movie, he's just pulling people over on his motorbike.
He's having a great time.
Yeah, and then he's like a detective for the rest of the movie. It's not established that I just don't think they really care. Hey, he's a cop. He's a cop. What can I say?
He's got a badge.
He's got a badge. And he gets a gun halfway through the movie. But then, halfway through the movie, he starts riding the bicycle around. And it's just the funniest thing.
Because he's riding angrily.
Yeah.
Like, he has a
like,
big confrontation scene with the major villain.
Yeah,
and they have a big argument. And then he's like, well, I'm out of here. And then just huffs off. Gets on his little tiny bike and literally rides angrily. That in the script, it would have been, okay, Nick, and you ride angrily here. He's like, yep, okay, I could do that. And just rides angrily away. And he's just riding all over the island.
And it's like an old timey bike as well. So he looks really weird on it. It's
Like,
almost
yeah.
like a child's bike. Or so, just imagine like Nicolas Cage, like a big adult human on like a kind of old timey child bike.
Like the
With like sinister music, and he's riding and he's all angry.
the bike that came before that was literally the old ones that had the big massive wheels, like the penny farthings. That's
That's
only
exactly
older
what's
bike.
happening.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's so good.
I love that that's in the movie. That the bicycle. Oh my god. The main actress, who's like his ex-fiance, whose daughter is missing, she's the worst, and they have no chemistry, but they have to make out and stuff.
Oh, the kiss.
Yeah, the kiss is
Second
so...
kiss, third kiss.
And it's like ADR, like was where they've done the audio later of like the smoochy noises. It's like because they didn't really kind of kiss.
like the Wilhelm scream, like the Wilhelm kiss. Like
Yeah, look, it's hard to describe. Okay, so what happens is like he gets to the island. Oh yeah, how funny is that at the start of the movie?
Oh, the plane.
The plane. Because
The guy that has the
okay, so first off, he gets a letter from his ex-fiance going like, "We're on Summers Isle." So like, by the way, the cops know where everybody knows he's going to Summers Isle. There's Summers Isle.
Like he tells you,
Yeah.
mate.
Anyway, he gets to near there, but he has to get from like America, like the mainland, to the island. And there's a pilot with a water plane, and he's like, bitter, like, oh, I don't give a shit. I don't want to take you anywhere, man.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage's like, I really need to get to the island. He's like, they're private people. We're all private people around here, and we respect that. And then Nicolas Cage is, well, come on, man. I just need you to take all of us there. He's like, what do you mean, all of us? Me and my friend Benjamin Franklin and another fucking president. And he pulls out like 20, like two $10 notes or something.
Oh, mate's like, done.
He's like, I'm definitely not taking you. They're private people. We respect it. I don't want to lose my contract with them. Blah, blah, blah. And Nicholas pulls out like $20.
$20.
And he's like, he wasn't offering to pay before. Like, before that, he was just like, come on, man, give me a ride for free or something. And he brings out some money, and the guy's like, and then the next scene is just them both in like the cockpit, just kind of like,
yeah. The guy says, "Oh, it's about 5 minutes away." But the plane ride
It's like a
scene
montage.
is like a montage of like beautiful scenery, and Nicolas Cage is like, "Oh wow, it's so beautiful!" Like he's
crossing
never
like
seen
the ocean
scenery.
and
Yeah.
like it's like the Jurassic Park scene where they're like flying all the way to this place. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh wow, where are we going?"
Oh god! And then it gets to the island, and everything's so weird right away, and all the. I mean, okay, so it's really like a feminist movie as well, but then, like, as in, the women run the island, and the men are like subservient. They're just there to breed.
I
or
did
something.
like that when I realized that the men. I was like, "Oh wow, none of the men have spoken." I thought, "Oh, that's actually."
The weird thing is that there are like a couple of moments where it's like, oh, this is good. This one moment in this movie is like a good scene.
Yeah.
Like when they do find the pilot later, spoilers, and he's been killed, and they've like torn off his hands and like
His lips just like stitched together.
and his lips.
He's
are
missing his
together,
eyeballs.
He's missing his eyes.
And Nicolas Cage tries to wake him up.
Come on, man, we gotta get out of here.
You could help me. You okay? Come on. Tries to like weekend at Bernie's him up. Like, you're fine. Everything's
so
good.
weird. But that was actually like horrifying when I saw him. I was like, oh damn. But then, okay, so like, the whole movie is kind of feminist. And then the last 30 minutes of the movie is him just punching women in the face.
Yeah.
It's like he gets over the whole like being an investigator. I mean, there's one scene where like first up he wakes up from getting stung by bees because he's allergic to bees. Amazing.
He has his bee pen.
Yeah, it's like an EpiPen for bees, but it says bee
But it's
pen,
bee pen on it, yeah.
And then he's like, oh, I'm sick of like investigating or asking people for stuff. And then he just goes from house to house. He's like, I'm going to search this whole island for our daughter. And he's just like knocking on doors, and he's like going house to house for like because it's like he knows the daughter is about to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'll just now, after being on the island for like days, I guess I'll start going house to house to find.
It's like in like end of school uni project where you leave it to the last minute. He's had multiple days to investigate.
And he's
the
just
island.
wandering around the island
on his fucking bike,
bike.
just walking around. There's people walking through the woods. He's like, oh, hello. And then towards the end, he gets to where everything's happening, like where the villain lives. just doesn't go in the
Oh
room.
yeah, that's right. Like
Doesn't go in the room
he's
where
checking
they are.
every room, but then he sees like some again. That was an effective horror scene. He opens one door of like the hotel, and there's just like a woman sitting on a chair, naked, covered in bees, and he's like, oh, and then he
I'm
kinda, like,
allergic.
he backs out into the room and hits the door behind him. He goes, oh, and then he runs away. But the door behind him had the Queen Lady in it. He just checked every door except for that one, and then they're like, is he gone? And yes, good.
So their plan was like, oh, I hope he doesn't come through this door.
Like he's going through every door.
Oh, phew, that was lucky. And then he goes from door to door, just ripping masks off the kids.
Or like the whole, like there's so many examples of that where it just doesn't make sense because obviously it's not a very good movie. But like at the start of the movie when he gets the letter, he's like, Summer's Isle, what is that? And then he finds online, it's not on any Google Maps or anything. It's like owned by like, it's a privately owned island. And he's like, and he's showing his other cop friends. He's like, yeah, I found this about Summer's Isle. And the other cop's like, Summer's Isle, what is that? He's like, I don't know, man, I just found it. But then later in the movie, it's established that it is the home of his ex-fiancée.
Which he just never knew about.
Never knew about, apparently. Like, his fiancée's home. Yeah, and then, but later in the movie, he's like, this is your home. Like, you know about this. And it's like... So, but I thought you discovered that Summer's Isle was a place just recently, but you've known of this... I mean, this is a minor plot hole for me to really focus on with the rest of the movie.
Details. Nicolas Cage doesn't do details. Doesn't do running, doesn't do details. Them two things in every contract.
It's bizarre that this movie came out like in between National Treasure 1 and National Treasure 2. I didn't think that he was in such bad financial straits at the time. Or maybe Nicolas Cage is just weird and he just saw this and was like, yes.
It's probably both.
Like he needed the money, but also he was like, this is insane.
He needs the money because he's weird.
Yeah, well, that's right. He's buying castles and shit.
Yeah.
He bought a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull or something.
Yeah, it's
for
great.
like millions of dollars.
I love him in real life.
I know. That's the
so
thing. I feel like
amazing.
he would be great as like just a person in your friend group, you know?
Like you said, he named his kid
Kal-El,
which is the
Superman's real name. I'm pretty sure that's true.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and he's named his other kids other weird, like geeky shit. He's a massive geek.
Yeah. He sounds awesome. But this is your classic bad movie. It's good because it's bad.
Yeah, and it's such a hard thing to be a so bad it's good movie. Because there are the movies like Sharknado and whatever, where they're trying to be bad. Whereas this one is, I think, trying to be good. Like, I think it is trying to be good.
Is it like The Room?
Yeah, Room, yeah.
Because the intention for The Room was, let's make a movie.
Well, that one's kind of even different in its own way, because it's like tiny budget, like self-made by this one weird guy. Whereas this is like a studio production. Like,
that's not a good thing.
You know how much it costs? Do you want to know?
Oh, I do.
$40 million. In 2006.
But to pay all the extras they had. Because in every scene, they were like, what if we get the same person? Nah, let's just have multiple people.
$1 million extras and no characters. And it got close. It made $38 million or so. But
really? From what?
I'm sure because people wouldn't know at first how bad it was. Yeah, $38.8 million. I guess they just didn't know that it would be bad and until like it had been out for a couple of weeks.
I guess National Treasure was that a big hit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive.
And then, so they've gone from National Treasure, whoa, Nicolas Cage. Oh, wow.
Nicolas Cage has always been, like, since the 90s,
but
has been a massive star.
But you know you're getting Nicolas Cage.
Sometimes you get amazing movies. 2004, I think, was also... Oh, no. Maybe it was 2007 was Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans, which is one of his best roles, which is, like, at the same time as this movie.
There's no in between.
It's not even one for them, one for me. It's like one for fucking aliens and one for B-budget horror movies.
It's a Nicolas Cage movie.
It's the most Nicolas Cage movie ever, probably. Like, apart from his good roles, because like I actually genuinely love Nicolas Cage. I think he's a really good actor, and he has a bunch of really good roles. He has Academy Award nominations. He's a good actor. Don't look at me like that. He's a good actor.
I think he's a good actor, but for different reasons I think you're thinking of.
Well, I like what he's doing in this movie because he's just like, I'll just be insane in this movie. He's playing an insane person.
Do you reckon he acted at all in this movie? from his
I don't think he acts at all. They just kidnap him and put him in and this is how he's reacting in real life.
It's a reality
He's
show.
got like I'm a cop. Everybody listen up.
This is actually Nicolas Cage real life.
Yeah, the real life of Nick Cage.
I also love the scene where towards the end, and you can hear them breaking their legs.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you hear the visible sound of bones breaking,
Bones
and
breaking.
Nicolas Cage going, and then you hear, you broke my legs.
I know it's really.
The director's like,
and it's ADR'd in because you don't actually see it, but it's like. I don't know if it was clear that we broke it, so they got Nicolas Cage back to record the dialogue. My legs! And now it's like, now I can't escape.
no, that's why I can't escape. In case you were wondering, and then just him being burnt alive, just
We mustn't have seen the director's cut or something. There must be a director's cut out there because we didn't get to see the famous scene where they put like a beekeeper helmet on him and then pour bees in the top. And he goes, the bees, not the bees. Killing me won't bring back your fucking honey.
do you reckon that's in the director's cut, or is that just been made by someone else?
No, that's definitely. I've seen that scene.
I've seen it. I've seen the meme.
I've seen the scene.
Yeah.
Have you seen the scene?
No,
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
seen the scene.
No, I have, and that was the only thing that I've seen beforehand that wasn't in the final version. And it actually had some of the dialogue where he was like, "The bees," I think, or he says something, but you don't actually see the scene. It kind of like montages into the next scene, and it's like it was cut or something. Maybe it was a deleted scene.
Right.
So people who thought that was in the movie, you'll be disappointed.
You know-
but you won't be disappointed by the scene of like the man in the giant bear costume just walking up to him and then, "What's wrong, sister?" And then just bang, punches her in the face. Just even the giant bear costume punching women in the face. That's like the whole end of the movie.
This is this is after he's roundhouse kicked a chick into the wall and then knocked out the other chick to steal the bear costume.
That's right. It's a feminist movie, and then it just ends with him just beating everybody up.
He literally walks down the stairs, doesn't say
I
a
know,
word.
that's actually great. It's like slow, like it's kind of like after all this running around and action, and that's actually kind of an effective scene because he's kind of just like he's got this dead expression on his face, like he's just fucking sick
His
of it.
suit's all
And,
dirty.
and like the women are being all smug, like, "No, you look worse for wear." And then he's just like walking down the stairs, walks up to her, looks her in the face, and just punches her in the face and knocks her out.
Yeah.
It's kind of an effective scene. And then the other chick comes in and tries to like bite his ear off, and she's like punching, and then he roundhouse kicks her.
Yeah. But this is the same chick who at the start of the movie was like, take me with you when you leave your island.
I think she was just being weird.
And then he doesn't say anything. He's like just nods and walks away.
She's like, "Will you take me with you?" And then
He just
just
smiles
he
and
just goes,
nods.
And then just walks away.
But then, as he's walking away, he just looks at her as he's walking away.
There's a lot of that. A lot of weird. And then, like, when he rescues his daughter and he's taking off the bear helmet, but he's still got the rest of the bear suit on, he's, like, running away with her. Like,
He's like, "Daughter, slow down." She's just like taking off.
oh, yeah. He's like, "Slow down, Rowan." It's like, this 4-year-old girl who is, to be clear, a 4-year-old girl who's outrunning him, and he's clearly, like, pretends slower. He's like, "Slow down, Rowan."
Nicolas Cage does not run.
He does not
very
run,
well.
and then he gets up, and then he discovers, the whole Rowan thing was a ruse.
Yeah.
They actually want to sacrifice me.
Yeah.
Which is, that was actually kind of a good scene where he's like, "Why'd you do this to me?"
I actually like that it was like a twist. Because I originally thought that
Big twist.
his ex-wife was a ghost. Wasn't actually there.
Yeah, that was your...
That was my... Because I noticed it was only them two talking.
Yeah.
You never saw his ex-wife with
Anybody else.
with anyone else on the island.
That would have been good if she
And
was
I
a
was
ghost.
like-
I kind
I
of
was
was
like,
like, "Oh, that's a good call."
Yeah, I felt pretty proud of myself when I called it out. I was like, I think I figured out this movie stuff. But no,
No, she wasn't a
no,
ghost.
she wasn't. She was an evil bitch.
It's brutal. It's like the whole thing was that years ago she left the island to get engaged to him because they needed like a man that's not on the island to sacrifice. I think that was the thing. They needed a
was like-
stranger who came willingly by their own accord
Yeah.
to the island to sacrifice. And so it was like a plan, like 10 years in the making to get him.
They catfished him.
They
Yeah.
big time
Yeah,
catfished him.
sacrificial catfish.
Yeah,
The classic.
Classic ruse.
So, guys, another one of those classic sacrificial catfish movies.
Oh yeah, and then the best thing at the end, it's like 6 months later, and okay, wait, because okay, first of all, 6 months later, and Clearly, the cops haven't gone to the island. It's just like one of their own cops who was very clear. I am going to this place, Summers Isle. You can see it right here. And all the cops know that he's going there. And then he gets killed and never comes back and goes missing.
Oh,
and
well, no, they can't go to the island because the only person that can get there is dead.
Is the pilot. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So apparently they just don't give a shit about one of their own cops clearly getting murdered. But then there's a bar scene.
Oh, yeah, it's just two guys at a bar. See one chick walking by herself.
Because there's two guys at the bar. And one of them is James Franco.
Yeah, I love that.
It was James. We could not believe it. Like, we get to the end of this movie and fucking James Franco.
It's like a little Easter egg.
I know.
It was like, congratulations for like staying with us. Here's a little treat.
You wouldn't expect this.
James Franco didn't know.
And they're like two guys at a bar, like trying to pick up chicks, and they're like, "Man, let's get out of here." And then they see like one girl, and they're like,
Yeah, it's creepy as fuck.
It's creepy. Like,
It's pretty
and
bad.
James Franco like has that vibe anyway, but he really puts it on. And it's two girls from the island who are like, and it's a really awkward scene, obviously, because all the dialogue and all the scenes are really just awkward. But then she repeats the line, "Will you take me with you?" And it's the girl that from earlier where she's yeah. And then James Franco's like, "Yeah, I will," not knowing that he's also going to be catfish. Yeah. Well, I think that's what it was. Like, this movie's going to go really successful. James Franco, you get to be in the sequel. And he's like, yes, this is 2006 James Franco. I'm like ready for some roles.
I mean, I'd say if the budget was 40 million.
I mean, Spider-Man had already came out. Like, James Franco was a movie guy by that point.
So this movie was meant to not be the movie it is. This was meant to be, this is a decent movie, well made.
I don't know, because
Well, it had to be.
it's so enjoyable, though. I mean, maybe it is just one of those things where they really messed it up. Maybe it's one of those things where they just really messed it up and it just became hilarious.
And they got lucky that people love it because it's bad.
Yeah.
They just...
Anyway, final thoughts. Tim, what do you give it?
I give it... See, I was thinking about this because
what do you give it?
Well, here's the thing.
I think you compare it to, I mean, your level of enjoyment.
Yeah, did this... For me, a movie is, was I entertained for X amount of time?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I had a great time watching this movie.
If I go to the movies and I get a popcorn, I get a drink, I get a choc top.
Which you got a popcorn here?
I did get a popcorn.
The pod
here.
provides.
It was very, very nice. I do like a popcorn in my movies. If I come out of the movie and I'm going, that popcorn was beautiful, the Coke was beautiful, that's bad. Because the movie is meant to be like
the movie's
main
the thing you notice, not the popcorn and Coke.
Yeah. For me, while I was watching this movie, I had an energy drink and I had some popcorn. The popcorn was very good.
Mm-hmm.
The energy drink was very good. The movie was better.
The movie was better.
I would give this... I'd give it a 7.7.
We go in halves on the pod.
7.5.
7.5 out of 10.
It's a solid though.
Yeah.
The only reason I can't give it an 8 is because it's a good bad movie.
Well, I think I can give it an 8. I give it an 8 out of 10. But
we have different.
The reason that I take it down
then.
a bit is because they went like kind of there's a couple of actually effective horror scenes, like with the pilot being like and there's just like a couple scenes that kind of ruined the fun I was having because I was like, oh, that's actually pretty fucked up.
I wasn't horrified one part.
Not even the pilot with his hands getting ripped off and his lips.
No, and I hate horror movies.
Yeah,
I do not like.
I wasn't like scared, but I was like, ugh.
No, I wasn't.
And like the old guy in the bed is covered in warts.
That was funny. Like, what's he doing there? Nicolas Cage walks in on an old guy covered in warts and pea stings.
And he just goes,
he just looks at him like, who is that guy? What's he doing in there?
Yeah, so I mean, otherwise, it's almost a perfect movie. This is one of the funniest movies I've seen in years.
I feel bad for giving it. I'll give it an 8. I feel bad. I feel bad for giving it 7.5. I'm sorry, Nick.
It's really
Nicolas
enjoyable,
Cage.
right?
Yeah.
We had a great time watching this movie. I recommend it to anybody. Like, it's not a scary movie. If you're worried about horror movies, don't worry about that. If you like comedies, this is your movie. And I think it's possible. I'm not saying it is, but I'm thinking it's possible that this is actually a comedy.
Oh, 100%.
No, but that they meant it to be.
They meant it to be?
It's possible.
I'd love to. Maybe in future pods, you can find the director, sit him down, and ask him about it.
Well, that's what I was thinking. We're going to do interviews. And maybe he didn't get any more roles, and he's like, I'll take anything. I will do that interview.
He does ads now.
Yeah.
He does.
Anyway, well, that was the Wicker Man.
It's great.
Thank you for joining us, Timothy.
It was a pleasure.
I loved having you.
It was so good.
I'm sure the fans loved having you. You might be a guest in future episodes. I'm sure once Nicholas is back next week, we might do Master and Commander. We might do something else. But look, it was great to have you, Tim.
I feel sorry for Master and Commander having to follow up on the Wicker Man.
That's right.
Russell Crowe, good luck.
Good luck. Okay, maybe against Nicolas motherfucker Cage.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's
All
pretty
right.
good.
All right, well, that's it. Well, thank you for joining us. If you've made it this far, again, maybe you could give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. I don't think Spotify has ratings. I keep forgetting to ask people to rate. But if you would like to rate it, if you wouldn't like to rate it, still maybe do it anyway. And then maybe also go on the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter, whatever it is that you socialize
Social
on.
pipes.
So
I think
yeah,
they
your
call
social pipes, the social pipeline. It's good for us, good for you. Thanks for joining us. Tim, do you have a sign off? Because Nick normally does the sign off.
Well, should I give a quote?
Catchphrase? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim quote.
What if I give you my life's motto?
Okay. What's your life's motto?
Eggs is just eggs.